Run it. I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us on Building Greatness, the Warrior Way, a Westcliff University athletics podcast, brought to you in part by our 5 C's. And win. What's important now? As always, I'm joined by our SID, Chase Dodge. How's it going, kid? And I'm Will Smith, your assistant AD of operations, back with the what's what in athletics and culture. Let's check in and get into the game.
Back by popular demand, we are still over here building greatness the Warriors way. And I'm back with my guys, as I always love. Chase, how are you, my dude? I mean, we are full swing. Are you ready for this season? Warriors sports is on.
I am ready. Well, I don't know about you, but hey, I'm a little bit. I mean, we were supposed to have a home opener with women's soccer earlier this day, but Hurricane Hilary had something to say of just like, oh hey, we're gonna touch down in California for the first time since the 1930s. What's up? And I was like, dude, are you kidding me?
That's what I said. I mean, obviously I'm a little ways away, but man, they made it like you guys were going to get, a category 5 and pretty much we were going to all in Vegas have waterfront property or something. When fizzled out a bit.
Well, when I'm telling you, I had freaking everybody hit me up of just like, I'm watching memes and stuff like of just like people from like Florida, like telling like, oh, California, you're not ready. And then the memes of like, California's attitude to natural disasters where, dude, I think it was a tropical storm when it hit San Diego or maybe like a category 1. And bro, there's freaking surfers on the beach catching some waves. And if that doesn't tell you about SoCal attitude, bro, I don't know what will.
First of all, I am glad you guys are safe because they hyped it up a lot. I was a little nervous about my family in California. I'm like, dude, they're about to get hit with all the water that we need in Vegas. So, but the fact that it didn't happen, I'm happy about it. But they really were. They were making it like
it was kind of like, here's the thing, dude. My grandma was calling and texting me like, hey, are you prepared? And in my head, I'm just like, prepared for what? She goes, do you got water? Do you got food? And I'm like, how bad is this going to get? And in my head, it was just like, I was like, she goes, are you going to your dad's? Are you going to your mom's? Like, and I was like, no, I'm just chilling at home playing video games with the homies. Like we set a time, we set a time with my friends. We're like, dude, we're gaming during a hurricane, bro. SoCal, dude, if you're from California, our attitude, we're built different, bro. We're just, if you're from California, our mindset is just weird, man.
Hey, it works though. You guys survive every time.
We're vibing. But first, I gotta mention something else, dude. I saw someone send me this like video of like, oh hey, a hurricane's coming to California for the first time since 1930s. But then it was just like, we got an earthquake too, and the caption just goes, hey, the earthquake just hit in California just to let them know who their true natural disaster is. Like, don't forget it. And I'm like,
don't forget about the main
gosh. Like, don't forget about me.
No, I grew up in California, and I spent most of my elementary school underneath the desk on a drill at least 3 or 4 times. Loma Prieta earthquake, hit us, but it was fun. It was, I don't want to say it's funny, but it's just kind of the way it is. It's like we're prepared for this hurricane, and right when you're not thinking about it, hey, remember me? We do this all the time.
Oh, hey, you remember me?
San Andreas says hello.
Oh, dude, it just lets you know, like, hey, you know where you at, and so, but it was pretty funny, just the attitude from people of just like, people were going like talking trash about Florida, like of like, oh hey, Florida, this is what y'all hurricanes are like. Bro, this is easy, bro. I don't know what you're complaining about. And I'm just like, oh, no, that's not true at all.
You got all the surfers on the coast going, please. The swells are going to be excellent. Let's do this.
Bro, and by the way, they were sick. Like,
I know they
were legit. I was watching a video, so I was like, dang, that looks like fun. But I'm like, I would never. But I was like, thankfully, like, we weren't, at least in my area, we weren't in the direct path. Like, I know Palm Springs got hit like they got hit like with floods. Roads were closed off because of it. So like if you're in the direct path of the storm, like they got hit, but on the outskirts, like not. I mean, there was a lot of rain, and I forgot who sent it to me, but it it's that old California attitude where it's just like when you hear the news of like, oh hey, Hurricane Hilary is coming to the door, and then the caption below just goes, "Don't say it, don't say it, Californians." Man, we needed this.
We needed the water. Of
We needed the water.
we needed the water.
We needed the water.
Hey, it's always the case.
Oh, bro,
bring it here because we need the water.
Dude,
oh my god!
Every time there's rain, man, someone's gonna be like, "Man, we needed this."
And it really is. It's like every time we're as dry as it possibly can be. They start talking all the dry fires, and then all of a sudden we get dumped on. And it is. It's exactly what we needed. I needed a little bit out here in Vegas too. I tell you, our water level's been low for quite a while. So let the monsoon season start. Let's fill things up. I'll take the water where I can get it.
Yeah, I mean, but thankfully, like everyone I know, everyone's perfectly fine, no injuries, none of that. So God bless. But we are now officially in the full swing of things. We just had our men's soccer team get their season opener yesterday against Life Pacific, Battle of the Warriors. And
amazing, I hear.
I mean, we took that match 8-0.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it was a big statement and a lot of key players, some old Warriors getting coming back, and then we got some new Warriors making their debuts. And yeah, it was a really cool. It was a good game, and it like
8-0.
8-0. That's built you some confidence.
I would guess so, and probably got the other team feeling some kind of way. I guess we'll see them later in the season.
I know, and no, we won't see them. We won't see them. Good luck to Life Pacific for the rest of the season, but no, we won't be seeing them again.
That's a wrap. So did they already did they postpone the women's game then?
Yeah, we were supposed to play Hope International on Monday. We have postponed that game. New date still pending.
Okay.
But our women's actually play Friday, the 25th, exhibition against Cal State Dominguez Hill. So that's a good one. No, but going back to that men's game, I texted the coach this morning, and I was just like, hey man, how was last night? Like, hey, did you miss being out there? And this 3 words, he just texted me, just goes, so much fun.
I bet. So just be clear. So we've got Friday, right? We've got Cal State Dominguez Hills. We've got the 29th, which is Tuesday. Men's soccer's back with Bethesda, right?
That's our official home opener. We're playing Bethesda home opener.
So that's going to be at Great Park. We're ready to go for that. And then Wednesday, women going to actually have their first game technically now. And that's
their first countable game against Chapman. At Chapman.
And then we roll right into volleyball too. So it's a big week. School starts.
Oh, yeah, we're rolling and gunning. So next week, like all of our fall sports except for I think beach and water polo are competing. Our cross country team will be competing at the Vanguard Invitational, which is actually, if I remember correctly, I think it's like in Irvine. So it's right in our back door. So I hope everyone can come out to it. And then the second we have women's soccer.
Vanguard is I think it's at the City of Orange. So yeah, you're right.
Yes. Oh, my bad. Yeah, City of Orange. Or wherever they host it at their at that community park. It's a good event. They do a great job of hosting.
Well, we got a new coach there, so he's got his work cut out for him, building out the team and getting them ready for the season, huh?
Yeah, with Mike, we have a full roster of athletes. A lot of them are dual athletes for cross country. It's always good vibes with cross country runners, to be honest. Like whenever you took that trip with them last season when they went up to Merced.
Fresno.
Fresno. What was it? Yeah, that's right. It was in Fresno. What was your experience like with that?
You know what?
With the team?
Was uberly impressed just by the camaraderie. We had a couple dual sport athletes that came over just specifically to run that year, and just to watch what I want to say prove themselves wrong because they believe they could do it, but they didn't know how well that they were going to do, and they just performed excellently. I had a great time. The camaraderie was excellent. The venue was good. It was nice to be up in Northern California for a little bit, or Central California, depending on how you look at it. But all in all, the team camaraderie was just infectious. And I honestly, I look forward to see how well they do this year. I've never been a cross country fan, but after meeting the student athletes and understanding what they're doing and understanding what the real attrition is by being in that sport, it's super impressive, and I'm excited to see what they do this year.
Dude, it's a hard sport. I don't think people know, like when you got like volleyball or soccer or basketball, like of how many how many games they're playing throughout a season. Dude, sometimes cross country runners, they maybe like have 4 or 5 in a season, maybe, and that just depends on how their legs are feeling. So like it's not like you can go like I'll put it this way, like if you're running a cross country meet, like you probably will go 1 and then maybe like 2 weeks off or like a week off or something, because it's just that taxing on your body.
I'm super impressed with anybody that long distance runs. I live just down the way from like a track. Basically, they go up to the Mount Charleston, and you'll see all these bikers coming by and runners, and they're running and they're smiling. And I'm such a football player. I only run because you made me, because I did something wrong, or because I'm going somewhere. I have never been that runner, but you should see the joy on these guys' faces in this cross country matches. And I'm like, yo, I do not have it. I would love to understand what that feeling is like. I get to running those. The first thing I think is like, when is it over? When is it over? When
am I done, man? That's what, like, as like when I got older, I had a lot more appreciation to like long distance runners and like cross country and track, just as like, because I mean, you remember like when you're playing sports, like you run as punishment. And so when I'm on the football
hit the lap,
field,
buddy, hit the lap.
Yeah. Hey, run a lap. You messed up.
Yeah.
And then I look at, like, in the distance, and I see these cross country runners just going, and I'm just like, also like the look on their faces is just like they're kind of like it's like game mode. Like they're having a good time. And in my head, I'm just like, dude, I would be freaking miserable. Like that's what I mean. It's like, it's a different mentality that I respect now, because like I don't have it.
I have to learn it. I got to know what that is, because I promise you, I'm the same way. If I run, I'm looking at the ground and my feet. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm going in my feet. They're looking around. They're enjoying the scenery. They're checking their watches for the time. I'm just like, what, am I going to make it?
Well, and also time out, like
survive.
Time out, like for us, yeah, like we're going to make it. Our mentality is just to do it to like finish. Their mentality is like, oh, hey, I gotta get a PR.
Yeah, I gotta get a better time than last time.
I gotta get a better
5 miles.
Hey, what's my pace? Is my pace better than? I'm just like, dude, there's no way. I was like, that's crazy. So that's why I really like about cross country. Now, what's going apart from cross country? What sport are you more excited to witness this season for fall? We got a lot of them, Will. So I want to know which ones you're coming out to seeing.
Well, after seeing beach last year, beach volleyball, I want to see them do well. Obviously, we had some coaching changes and things of that nature, but I would love to see beach really show what they're about. I mean, they were excellent last year. Fell a little short on our Florida trip, but our East Coast trip, I really feel like they're on the precipice of being the next, taking the next step up, and I'd love to see them do it.
Are you talking about men?
Women's.
Oh, women's. Oh, okay, so women's in the spring. I got you.
Yeah. Men's, I definitely want to see how well they're doing. Obviously, they've got a good coach over there. They've been building up something for a couple of years, and I feel like they're at that point too. They feel like they're ready to start peaking. I'm just anxiously waiting to see what they're able to do.
Oh, I am too. Honestly, for this year, I mean, we were talking about it, going back and forth about like goals and expectations, and let's be real, every college across the nation, once they start the season, they're like, oh, hey, we're going with the goal to win a championship. That is what it is. If you don't have that mindset, you're kind of in the wrong business, right?
100%.
So my goal for this season for all of our teams is just to be competitive,
Yeah.
have fun, man. I know it's like we all want championship stuff, but like if you don't enjoy the ride, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice because you want to. I'll just put it this way: the number one thing I remember from playing sports is my relationships with my teammates,
For sure.
the process,
Mhm.
and so it's just like for our sports this year. Do we have a lot of returners? I think because B and I, we remember when we started, we were independent, right? Back in 2019, 2020 season, right? We're now at that we're now in that place where we have a lot of returners. Because when you're independent or when you're starting new, I mean, same thing with like coaching staff and athletes. You get it like they're like going like a little bit of a turnover. They're going to someplace better. Now it's like I'm seeing names a lot more now returning year after year, which is a very positive sign. You know what I
Continuity,
mean?
gotta have it for sure.
You gotta have it. And it was rough. It was rough our first 2 or 3 years because when for my personal view, it's just like when we like, and Brandon probably has this as well. When we go to a home game for every fall, new year, new everything, and we look and we just go, dude, I don't recognize anyone.
Right.
This season, when I go out to the practices, half of them I'm just like, oh, I know exactly who you are. What's up, Giannis? How's everything going? You know,
Mhm.
what's up, Q? Like, I mean, that's the one thing I'm very happy about is that like we got a good crop of new people, but we also got a good crop of veterans to kind of set that foundation and that culture because our 5Cs, we can't just focus on the last 5C, which is championships. Dude, the best part of this job, hands down, is my interactions with the student athletes, who they are as individuals, the character that they have, do their commitment to their craft.
Mhm.
I enjoy that more than anything. Like I enjoy that more than wins and losses is that interaction with them as athletes. But also, like, don't get me wrong, it's kind of rough as like a professional, like going to a game and freaking covering a game that you lose. It's rough. Like coaches and players, like they don't like that. I don't either. Like we all want to win. We all want to be competitive. But I take pleasure and pride in my interactions with athletes, man. They are some of the best individuals. I say that because we're biased at that school, but like let's keep it a buck. Every athlete at every college across this nation are putting in, we don't know what's going through their minds half the time, but they're putting in a lot of work, a lot of dedication to the sport that they play, and also at the end of the day, they're doing what they love and also getting an education, and I respect that every day. Sorry, I just went on a little
No,
tangent
it's
just talking
important.
about
No,
it,
no,
man.
you're 100% right, and it goes back to exactly where you started. It's that 5Cs culture. I mean, championships are important. Obviously, we cleaned up a little bit last season, and we are happy for that. But at the end of the day, it's what you said. It's your interaction with our Westcliff community. It's truly a nod to the culture that no matter what new or old warriors that come and play for us, they're going to understand exactly what the culture is, and then really the community, the commitment, it all equals what we were ended up able to do last year, and that was compete for championships. But at the end of the day, just like you said, everybody, they get paid to do their job too, just like they say in professional sports. You're not going to catch every ball, you're not going to intercept anybody. They're out there doing their job too. But at the end of the day, if we're maintaining our culture, our character, our community, and our commitment to our community, they will come. And I think that's the biggest thing that I enjoy. Just like kind of what you said, when I interact with our student athletes, they've bought in. They bought into what we do here, and that's what matters. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, one day they will be graduates, which is the ultimate championships, and then after that, be our alumni. So I think you hit it right on the head. What we're about, what we're looking for, but we're also looking for a few championships this year too. So I'm excited to see
Yeah, I know.
how well we can get into this year. Yeah, I was spoiled last year. I don't know. I don't know how to recover from that. I might have a little bit of a championship hangover.
But I mean, we're off to a very solid start. We got with all of our new coaches in the new spot in our new sports, excuse me. their goal, or at least my expectations for them, is just to be competitive. Like it's just honestly just be competitive. I don't like it, the number one thing I go back is like if you lose. Like I was watching like some documentary, and it's just like if you lose, it's a bummer. But if you know in the back of your mind that you were competitive and you gave it your all, like it will be a lot. It will be a lot better than that mindset of like, oh, I could have done more. Right
Oh
now,
yeah.
now with our all of our sports this season, dude, I'm excited because not only do we have a couple more sports added to our roster, we got a
Let them
couple
know
of
what it is. What we got? What do we got
oh,
now?
you don't know, you haven't heard? Well,
I've heard a little bit.
a
I
little
heard a
bit.
little bit.
Hey, we added women's wrestling, so we
What?
got what? we got women's wrestling coming in the winter, and on top of that, we actually got accepted into the Cascade Collegiate Conference, which is up north, which is
Pretty awesome.
is and here's the thing: it's a very competitive conference in terms of wrestling, um, with staple universities like Vanguard, Menlo, just to name a few. Now, with their there are a couple of schools who are making that jump to D2. So Cascade was looking at us and added us in, and we're very thankful for them because number one, there's not a lot of wrestling out here on the West Coast,
I mean, really.
really, but they are the pinnacle of success when it comes to wrestling. They've had multiple individual national championships. So we're very excited to be accepted by them, and very excited to see Coach Gis and see what he got going on for that program come winter.
I don't know if it's just me, but I got a lot of pride when it comes to stuff like that. I mean, a lot of places teach and espouse to be, really about equity, really having a voice in DE and I, but we're actually doing it. We're actually getting out there, making sure there's representation, and really still developing, high quality student athletes regardless of their gender. And I'm really proud of our athletics community, not just us, but everybody that's involved in that here on the West Coast, including Cascade.
And I'm going back. We also have our men's lacrosse team. Now they did compete last season,
Yeah, they did.
but they didn't have any place to call home. Like they're playing anyone who was willing to play them. Now we got accepted into the MCLA,
Nice.
which is a very competitive association. So I'm very excited to see what we do there. Which means, and here's another thing, is like we have with our acceptance into the MCLA, there'll be like schedules. Like we'll be playing, they'll be traveling, they'll be competing. When you're independent outside of a conference, you're basically at the mercy of scheduling whoever wants to play you.
Yeah.
That's why it makes that's what makes our water polo program so interesting also, because they don't have a conference. So we have to go into tournaments like, hey, who wants to play us, basically. And we also have, we have the NEI finals that was created in association with a few NEI teams to, compete for a trophy in a tournament sense, with OUAZ, Merced, and I believe Cal Maritime as well. So we're growing that community at the NAI level, but our water polo programs, man, no, dude, those individuals are freaking ballers, bro. When I mean like they're playing D1, D2, D3 schools. And by the way, like, I don't know if you noticed, like a lot of the D3 schools out here in the West Coast, they're all nationally ranked pretty much. A good majority of them are. And so, and also when we're playing tournament, like, with our water polo teams, man, we got a UCI on the docket. It's a big time program.
Shouts out to Coach Rainey, who's been holding it down.
I know, Coach
holding it down this whole. And as a matter of fact, shouts out to Coach Song for putting that together. Matter of fact, we got to get both of those on the show, figure out what they're doing before the end of the season. But shouts out to both. They have their work cut out for them, And look at they're making those next steps. They're pushing themselves and their team to the next level. It's pretty exciting.
Dude, it's very exciting. It's so much fun to watch because, I mean, dude, I love competition, man. It's like at the end of the day, I love seeing competition. I love sports, man. I've said this from day one. I'm a giant sports fan. Doesn't matter what it is, homie. I love watching cricket, and that's not a mainstream sport,
Not at all.
at all. First of all,
So you're a sportsman, sir. You are a sportsman.
I am certified, verified, whatever you want to call it, sportsman.
Yeah, I'm certified.
But by the way, I'm still learning cricket. That sport, I mean, it's so hard to figure out.
It is. I've only seen a few matches, but it's definitely it's not baseball.
No, it's not. But it's a lot more. It's a lot more popular than baseball.
It's amazing how internationally some of these sports have been around and do so well, and I just don't know why they just haven't made it over to the States with any kind of fervor. I think the only thing that we really accepted has been like soccer recently, at least on a national stage.
I think what it is, and this is just my hypothesis when it comes to the American market in terms of sports. If Americans aren't familiar with it or aren't down with it, I don't think they pay attention. And that was kind of the struggle with like with soccer in the US. It was like in the mid 20th century, like people weren't really like with it. Kind of like the same deal with like basketball. Like basketball wasn't really popular like in the 60s and then like 70s, but once say Magic and Bird and the Showtime Lakers, everyone was like, oh, what's going on over here? So it's like, and the same thing goes with like the MLS now. Like everyone's tuning in to watching Messi right now. Everyone's tuning into our domestic league in the US. So it's just
see that comeback he did the other day too.
That's what he does on the reg.
No kidding.
I know, dude. That was
goat.
that.
I don't use the term goat, but yeah, that's one of them there.
Oh, that's my goat.
That's goat status.
Hey, and I know that, and I know some of the guys on the men's soccer team might be listening to this and they probably don't disagree. I don't care. I say it with my chest.
That's a modern day Pele. You know what I mean? It's he's pretty awesome.
I give. Here's the thing about as a soccer fan, football fan, I don't compare goats to each other.
Look at you.
I don't.
So I'm a purist.
No, I don't. No, because dude, they're just. I mean, we were talking with Coach Dodge the other day. Like, they're different styles, different masters at different time periods, man. You can't compare them. I mean, of course, number one, like at least in our generation, is like they're comparing like Messi to Ronaldo, and it's I think Messi's a GOAT. Ronaldo is an all-time great.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You think he's just more popular just because of the image?
I don't know.
Situation?
I don't know, man. I think it's just that's a good question. I just like the way. Okay, I'll put it this way. Ronaldo is a dominating presence on the field, on the pitch. So when he scores, I'm just like, all right, cool. But when I'm watching Messi, every time he scores or the progression leading up to a goal, the thing that comes across my mind goes, dude, no freaking way did he just do that.
Mm-mm.
I'm like, I'm in disbelief when I'm watching him.
Now, how old is Messi? I think we talked about this before. He's like 35, 36.
Yeah, 35, 36.
And still be at top of his game.
Yeah, so like Ronaldo, when I see him, I see a great player like doing his thing. But with Messi, when some of the things he does, I'm just going, dude, no freaking way did he just pull that off again.
It's kind of the clouds part. All of a sudden, the sun's shining a little bit harder right where he is.
Yeah,
he's just one of those guys, dude. He's been blessed.
But going back to like some of these sports internationally and how they don't get the love, they get love, man. They get love in their region, in their countries that support them and have fun with them. But when you get new sports coming into the US, I mean, man, it takes time. That's one thing is just like when people are trying to draw the comparisons with because we got like lacrosse in the US, but it's not as popular, but it's on the rise. That's the thing. It's like it's on the rise in terms of population. What did I say? I said popularity. Thank you. Wow. English is not working for me today.
It's all right. We'll work through it. We'll both out. It's English as a second language around here.
I mean, It's my first language, so that's a problem. my
Either
Spanish,
way,
my
work it out.
my Spanish in this region is rough.
I'm working on it.
Got that
I've been
dude?
using that
Got
Rosetta
that?
Stone, but I don't know. I don't
Oh,
know how well I'm doing, but I'm
yo,
working on
Rosetta Stone, get out of here! It's all that
it.
Duolingo.
Duolingo.
Oh heck,
It's
yeah,
like a
dude.
gang or something. Somebody
Dude.
else told me that. It's like I was like, "Are you practicing your Spanish?" I said, "Yeah." But are you on Duolingo? I'm like, actually, no. I'm on Rosetta Stone. They kind of looked down at me like I had an Android phone or something. I'm
Yo,
like, my bad.
yo, what group are you part of, man?
Exactly.
Are you that old school? Or
Are
are you
you
with this
team?
new stuff?
Are you team Rosetta Stone? Are you team Duolingo? I'm like, my bad. I just want to learn. Can someone just tell me how to pronounce this? I just don't know. Oh
Dude,
my
I just don't
goodness.
want to get lost in my city.
Oh, that's it, right?
That's
I mean,
it.
seriously. I
Oh,
need to be able to talk to everyone if I can. Thank you very much.
oh, absolutely. And also, it's fun because, like, I mean, when you're, and this is what I've always admired. The one thing I've only admired about people from Europe is that they speak multiple languages.
They do. They do. And for that, I think we are very behind. We've got a huge
Hey, that's it
multicultural
though. Hey, that's
community.
it. Everything else, America's
That's
the
it.
best and everything. Everything. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted.
America first.
Oh, but no, that's the one thing I've always like I kind of admired about Europe is that they speak multiple languages. Number one, they speak their wherever their home country language is. Maybe one that's in their region or like a dominant, and then English. And I'm just like, how? Like when you look at some of our athletes, like this is just an example. We got a lot of them from Germany.
Yeah,
a lot of them are speaking German, English, and then another one because a lot of them might be from somewhere else that also language. So that's three already off the bat. Meanwhile, for me, I got English, and we just confirmed a couple minutes ago that I'm messing up on my I'm messing up on my words already. And then I got like I got a half on Spanish. Like that's kind of bad, man. And the only reason why I'm constantly like improving on Spanish is because it's in my region, dude. Like Spanish is a very like honestly it's coming up. I think it's not that far behind of like language in California, to be honest.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
dude,
it's a heavy cultural market for for a lot of different languages, for sure.
That's the one thing I love about SoCal is like the Spanish language is seeped into this area. Well, also don't get it twisted. Like California was a part of Mexico for a lot of years until we won the Mexican-American War.
Pretty much.
But dude, all of our cities are Spanish.
100%.
So I live
people, in Nevada. I know the deal.
You know the deal. So I always tell people all this time when I meet my friends, not my friends anymore, but from like people I knew in high school, when they say some like wild left field comment, I'm like, where are you getting at?
Yeah, where do you think you are?
Where do you think, dude? First of all, we live in Aliso Viejo. That's my hometown. What English that's not English, dude? I'm like, what the hell?
You might as well acclimate, get familiar, sir. Get familiar.
Well, also, dude, it's not even get familiar. It's also like there's so many people in our area that just solely speak Spanish, and also once you learn how to communicate with them, they are some of the coolest individuals ever. Like you're basically just shutting yourself off from potential new friendships and new experiences.
Yeah, by limited language. All right. I'll study tonight. I'm back on it.
Hey, you gotta get on that. You gotta get on me. Yeah, you gotta get on that.
I have not been doing my due diligence. Shouts out to the
Duolingo.
F students, all the F1 students that have to come
over
dude,
that's crazy.
And learn the language while they're trying to acclimate to being over here and getting to school. Super impressive work. I don't know if somebody told me I had to learn another language just to go to school. College. Oh my God, I would hope I would be able to do it. But man, I've got a lot of I'm super impressed by any of those F1 students that come in here. And literally they buy in, they're playing sports, they're learning the language, they're learning English as well as all the things that they're studying in school, and they're being really successful. I mean, gotta love that 5 C's culture around here.
Yeah, but I gotta say, this is another thing that these individuals that come from everywhere across the world coming to a new country that they aren't probably not familiar with the culture or the language, dude, takes massive like, dude, that's it, dude. I can't even think about doing that, like, kind of leap into the unknown.
I
You
mean,
know,
man, traveling far.
far
Uh,
from home, you're
I mean,
homesick.
seriously, I got to some interactions with some of the tennis student athletes last year, and a few of them were from Germany. You know, and it was just like you are so far away from home, and usually we're not their first stop. You know,
No,
they've gone and studied other places, acclimated there, and this is just their educational trip. And it's one, it must be rewarding, but two, it's inspiring. It just, you never know because you're in your own lane. Sometimes you don't know what your capacity is. And my
right.
nephew tells me all the time, hey, you got to test your capacity on a regular basis because you don't know if you're limiting yourself. And I think they know that better than most. They're not
Mhm.
going to limit themselves. They're going to go out on a limb. They're going to travel 2, 3, 4,000 miles away from their home, where in a place would scare most people if they didn't speak the language, and not just try to assimilate, but really become champions,
I know.
become student athletes, and then eventually, gaining their biggest championship, which is to graduate from Westcliff. Pretty amazing students.
Hey, and you know what? You know another thing that would make me a little bit nervous about going to a new country, and this is where like a lot of people not they probably don't realize. So when you're going like, and this is I've talked to athletes before, or just like friends that I knew, dude. When you come to the U.S., our culture, do we have so much culture here, but also like let's keep it. This is something I found out talking to them. You know how like you get the question if you're from out of country, and like a local ask you like, "Oh, hey, where are you from?" What's the first thing you say?
Vegas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or your state.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And people always like, "Oh, I thought you were American." It's like, "Oh, we are." But it's like that's one of the things is like whenever I ask international students of like, "Hey, where are you from?" "Oh, hey, I'm from Germany." "Oh, hey, I'm from England." "Oh, hey, I'm from Spain." And then, but here Americans go, "Oh, hey, I'm from this state." And I was like, I did my research on this. I'm like, why do we do that? And then one thing I found out is because our country is so big that our cultural identity is kind of associated with our state, like
A region.
our
Yeah,
region.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like people from California, and you take someone from New York, you could definitely tell where they're from by the
Oh yeah.
way they talk, their mannerisms, their interests, all that kinds of stuff. And I'm just like, wow, like
I feel
that's
like that here I consider us kind of like a border state because we've got, if you notice the people that are here now, we do have some transplants from Chicago and back east, but a lot of Californians and
mhm.
a lot of Arizona and a lot of Mexico, and it kind of blends in the culture in Nevada. We have a very heavy Hispanic culture. We have a heavy American culture, and then we've got this blend of eras, the Southwest. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
it's a little bit of Tex-Mex, but it's also very affluent Mexican, straight up. So
oh yeah.
it's a different world. It's a different world, but man, it's kind of a trip. It's just like you said. It's like depending on your region, because if you live in the Southwest or in California, it is nothing like Kentucky. It is
No,
nothing
not at
like
all.
the Dakotas. You know what I mean? It's just not.
Nothing like the South. Nothing
No,
like
it's really
nothing,
not.
nothing, dude. That's what's so it blew my mind when I forget who it was, but one of them was this person I knew was from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And when they're talking about like, oh hey, I went to France or something, I was like, oh cool. How long was that trip? Because I was like genuinely curious of like how long that trip is, and they go, oh, it was like 3 hours. I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, and I was like, dude, 3 hours? I'm still in Southern California.
Oh, 100%. That is really
That's what
that's real.
that's
That is
what
real.
that's what blew my mind. I was like, wait, hold up. You're telling me that you crossed two countries in 3 hours. Meanwhile, I'm still in my region.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Okay, so question. You're in Alyssa Viejo, yeah? Is that what you said? Alyssa Viejo?
Well, now I live in La Habra, but Lisa Viejo is what I call my hometown.
How far is La Habra from Mexico?
La Habra,
Approximately.
La Habra to Mexico.
2 hours?
Shoot. I'm gonna Google Maps that.
It might be like 2 hours.
Dude, I'm
It's
gonna.
interesting.
Yo, no, yeah. Now I'm genuinely curious. All right. I think the closest one is Tijuana. Hey,
Yeah,
we're
yeah, right over the border.
hey, gonna party. All right, 3 hours and 45 minutes from La Habra.
From La Habra. You could be in another country. Why do you think it's less likely to go east to go to Mexico versus going, let's say, north to northern California? You'd be more likely, or even Vegas. It's a trip. We've had all this access points, but for some reason, we're so landlocked in some way. At least I feel like I am. It's like I could have been in Mexico a few times this year, but I end up in California. It's the same 4-hour drive. I could have gone to Mexico.
I think it's just like I mean, as Americans, I think we kind of forget about how big our country is, or how big like North America is as like a community.
Oh yeah,
Because
people
it's
act like
just
Mexico's not North America. It's funny. It's really funny.
what's up?
I said I've got friends and like they mentioned Mexico like it's an afterthought. I'm like, that is North America, right?
Oh, it's
It's like
100%.
all the same, right?
Oh, it's 100% North America.
But it's weird. They just kind of like they act like it's a separate thing. I enjoy the culture. I'm going to try to get my way out there if I can. It's been a while. I've got good friends that go all the time, and I need to find a reason just to, one, to get out of the States for a little bit, and two, enjoy some of that scenery. Because I'll tell you, some of the food down there, some of that, man, especially along the coast, boy, I'm ready to go. I mean, seriously ready to go. So, hey, before we get out of here today, let's just be clear, because I want to make sure that people are on and ready. So we've got Dominguez Hills on the 25th, women's soccer. We've got Bethesda on the 29th. That's men's soccer.
That's a home game. You better be there.
Yeah, you got to be there. That's at Great Park. You know where it is. Let's get out there. Let's show some support. We've got Chapman, women's soccer playing Chapman on Wednesday the 30th. We also got volleyball, women's volleyball coming in Santa Barbara Community College. That's a home game as well over at J Law on that same Wednesday. Then we're going right into men's soccer at Stanton. Oh, actually, we're at home again.
Yeah. We're hosting them again. Yeah.
So next week should be a great week up to Thursday. As a matter of fact, till the next podcast. Plenty of games to watch. Are we streaming? Are we going to get streams for all of these?
Oh yeah, for all of our home games, we're streaming it live. Just for those fans listening in, just get onto our website, westcliffathletics.com. Click that watch live section, and don't miss any of that Warrior action.
Your squads are live. It is now. The season is on. Don't miss out. We are ready to go.
Hey, summer's over.
Summer's
been over.
It's still hot, but summer is over. It is time to go to work. I'm ready to go. And it's not enough that we won championships. Truthfully, it's not enough, because guess what you got to do now? You got to protect what you've earned. You must protect what you've earned. So get out there. Let's show them some great support, and let's really figure out what else we can get done this season. I'm really excited. I can't wait to get to a game.
Oh, I can't wait. Will, I hope you're pumped as much as me.
I honestly, every year, this is my second year with you guys, by the way. I did my anniversary not that long ago. You guys,
congrats on that. That's a huge accomplishment.
Hey, I'll be honest with you. I didn't even know how quickly time had moved, because I'll be honest with you, you guys made me feel like I was at home, and I'm glad to be here. So,
that's interesting you say that, because I was thinking the same way. Like I'm entering year 5.
Oh.
Dude, honestly, it felt like a couple. Like, honestly, it feels like I just graduated and I'm just entering into this profession, and it's just like, no, dude, you're in year 5. Oh man, there's no way.
Yeah, and you're directing now. From where you started to now, you cracked the door on SID, and now you're directing the SID.
Oh, I'm telling
people,
been
a hell of a journey, brother.
It's a fun journey. Hey, I'm telling people what to do, and that's a weird dynamic for me to have. I've never been that person, but the team we have, man, we're top-notch individuals, man. There's no ego or anything like that. Because the number one priority has always and will forever be, when you're in athletics, is a student athlete. And that's what I try when I meet other professionals around my age in this profession. That's the number one thing I try and let them know. I'm like, hey, the reason why we're doing this is for the student athlete. If you're not here for that mindset, you're going to hurt their experience, and you're probably going to hurt yourself in your commitment to this profession.
I agree 100%. Speaking of which, before we get out of here, let's give a shout out to, take a minute to he's one of the newer members of the SID group. But after talking to B and talking to you today, let's take a minute to just give a salute to Francisco.
Oh, hey,
What?
that's our newest addition to the SID team.
What an
He,
incredible family member.
yeah,
I mean,
he's been doing he's been blowing me away with everything he's been doing. Everything he's learning from me. Everything I'm trying to teach him. He's just been doing a fantastic job of just honestly soaking up everything and anything we throw at him, and he's been able to help us out. So for those athletes tuning in, if you guys don't know, Francisco, aka Cisco, hey, he's going to be at your home game. So don't give him a high five. Some like he's there to help you guys out.
if
But
you
yeah,
have not read his articles, if you haven't read the SID team's articles, I'm sorry. These are some of the best articles I've read in sports, especially on our level, whether it be B or Francisco or Chase. This is some great work. So if you're a fan of the program, if you're a fan of Warrior Sports, or if you're just a fan of great sportsmen, check out some of those articles that come out of there. I'm telling you, they put their heart and soul in it, and they mean it. I mean, this is a real family first culture that we have here. Family meaning forget about me, I love you. This is what it looks like when it's done well. So shouts out one to the SID team. I'm a homer. My squad.
what's up?
A lot of love for my squad. But really, Francisco, we wanted to take a moment to salute you. Keep doing what you're doing. We enjoy what you're doing. And hey, man, love having you as a family member.
Can I interrupt the show, fellas?
What's up, B?
What's up, B?
I just wanted to add on to that. Give you
Please.
my ditto on the Cisco. He's been big time, and I just really appreciate him, and I'm just excited for his future because he's definitely an upcoming talent to pay attention to. So please do that, fans. Thank you.
Loving it. We're gonna have to do that more often. Make sure we take a few minutes just to shout out some special people in our group, because sometimes they're behind the scenes, they're grinding it out, they're sweating it out, and they don't necessarily get the titles. But we know that they're out there doing that good work and really living the 5Cs culture every day. So shouts out to all teams, shouts out to this new season, and really, I'm really excited to have a great year.
Hey guys, welcome Mike in, and give me 2 seconds, okay?
Hey, Mike, how's it going? I think you're muted.
Coach,
Or that could be my headset.
I think he's here.
now I'm not
Got
muted.
it. There he is. Coach, how are you, sir?
I am doing fabulous. How are you guys doing today?
We are doing excellent.
Yeah, great.
We've been talking about you, but your ears have been ringing. We've been talking about what the season's been looking like. We're so excited to be in full swing. Obviously, school has already started. Our student athletes are already getting acclimated to classes. You guys have built a new team. Obviously, welcome, Coach. Welcome to your first year of Westcliff's athletics. Can you give us a few minutes and just introduce yourself? Let us know who you are and where you're from.
Well, my name is Mike Crosby, and I am new to Westcliff, but I'm not used to coaching cross country. I ran, of course, in high school and college myself. Coached Biola University for many years. They had never made it on the men's side to the NAI National Cross Country Championships. I set that as the goal, and we qualified and ran in 3 national championships, finishing 25th in the snow in Wisconsin the first time. That was a very interesting meet. And then we finished 16th the next year and ran all lifetime best for my top 5 runners, which is, running your best when it counts the most. And that's, of course, part of my philosophy of what we're going to do all the time here. But especially this season, we're going to just try and train up our newbie runners and, try to run their very best at the conference meet when it counts the most.
So when you're coaching them, and this is just purely an amateur question from me, is that what you teach? It's not necessarily running against the next person or the next school. It's running against yourself and, let's say, the course?
Well, in a lot of ways, that's true. If you can imagine a bell curve, I say this explains cross country, and you've got the few runners out at the very end who, if they run 10 seconds faster or slower, doesn't make any difference to the meet score. And you got some at the back that it doesn't make much difference to the meet score. It's those middle runners in that bulb of the bell curve that if you're in the 3, 4, 5, if you run 20 seconds faster or 20 seconds slower, that might be 20 points each. That could be like a 60-point swing in your team's score. by if you overrun early in the race, if you just aren't paying quite enough attention to what you're doing, every second ends up counting. And lots of times those runners don't feel that important because they're further back out of, 100 runners, you're in 50th place. It may not feel important at that moment, but you're important to the team. And that's one of the things I strive with. It's a team sport. It's an individual sport. We've turned into a team sport, but it's a team sport as far as scoring.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, it kind of falls right in line with our 5Cs culture. If you're literally running for your family, running for your partner, running for your teammate, it's a whole different look. You know what I mean? When if you're just on a solo run. So you've been running a long time. You said you coached at Biola for quite a while. What's your experience has been in cross country as far as lessons for life, let's say?
Well, I think there are a lot of lessons for life. One of them I was just thinking about this morning that I will be expecting to the team tomorrow is if you ever fall down or get knocked down in a race, get back up and start running immediately. If you're hurt, you'll know that within a step or two. But if you're not, you got to keep running. This was illustrated this year at the USA National Track Field Championships, which I attended in Eugene, Oregon. A steeplechaser hit the barrier. Bam! I mean, he hit it hard. He went down. He's not getting up, but he got up. He was running way in the back. And so now, because it's live, I get to watch him as opposed to what the TV is doing, which is watching you do that. So I'm watching. He just keeps running. He just does exactly what I would tell a runner. Don't try and make it up too much in one time. He just steadily made it up, All of a sudden, he's running with the leaders with one lap to go, and he runs well. He wins the race. He wins the national USA championships after falling behind to last place. That was a fabulous story. So that illustrates exactly, get up because you don't know what's going to happen. Just because you've hit an obstacle, an object, that doesn't. I have a saying called OMS, OMMS. Obstacles make me stronger. And I will teach that to the team again. So it doesn't matter what happens to you in life.
Ohms. One more time. Ohms.
Ohms. As if you were doing it, as if you were
meditation. Yeah.
So it's obstacles make me stronger.
Obstacles make me stronger. That is excellent. I'm going
to keep that. So if it's a hill in the race, if it's a barrier that you hit in the steeplechase, or something else in life, those are all. We're all going to have obstacles in life. Sports is a metaphor for life. What we do there, how we react to bad things, because lots of times, not all of life is going to be perfect going forward. It's going to be a time where you meet obstacles. But what do you do? If you think, well, I should have an obstacle-free life, you're deluding yourself.
100%, because there's never going to be that case. Now, I have a goofy question for you. For us non-runners, me and my man.
Non-runners? There's no non-runners.
Well, let me explain.
Go ahead. Ask the non-runner question. That's fine.
Not non-willing runner.
Exactly. As sportsmen, we played sports. We played football, baseball. I played basketball, and I always had to run for a purpose. And if I played ball, never even thought about it. But we were just talking about this earlier. I live right near the Charleston Pass, and I see bikers and runners, and they run with the joy, and they look around and they're enjoying themselves. And I'm the runner that looks at my feet and where I'm going, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. What is that something that you just get over eventually? Or is it just is it something that you're born with? Did you like the first time you went running go, this is for me? Or is that something that you had to deal with one day and then you just got over it?
I think it depends on the individual. Certainly the body type makes a lot of difference. How everybody can run, but how well can you run, and especially during distance races, that makes a difference. I started out actually as a sprinter in high school, running the 100 and the 180, and I was a sprinter. So I always had the idea in my head that I was fast. Then they recruited me to run cross country, and so I ran cross country. But I remember probably junior year, and I was a fairly decent runner at that time. Thinking as I started the starting line, I said, "What am I doing here running cross country? I don't want to do this." But the coach, made me do it. See, in fact, I said, well, I'm not going to run cross country. I'm just going to run track. And so I understand when there's people who have ambivalence about the running, but eventually get to the point where it just is so much beneficial to your life. There have been multiple happiness studies that say exercise is one of the keys to being happy. So one of the things I'm hoping for the athletes is they get enough. They may not train at the level we're training collegiately the rest of their lives, but they'll get enough of that running that they want to go out and run. They want to get that runner's high, so to speak, on a daily or consistent basis for their life. So I see it as a key component, learning to exercise, to your happiness.
I must be doing the wrong thing because I always end up with the runner's hangover. No, I don't get the high part. I don't. I wish I
Well,
did. I think I would run again if I had that euphoria. I promise you, I am jealous of these people. They're hitting this path. I'm telling you, I drive there all the time. Like, dude, they got their outfits on and they're out there, but they really look like they're doing what they want to do. And I always grew up on that no pain, no gain exercise mentality. And I think I'm missing out.
Maybe that's it. Maybe we need to have you just run, but run easier or run, 3 times a week rather than 5 times a week. Maybe you need a really good running coach. That's what you need. I think.
Oh, well, we were lucky enough to have a really good running coach now at Westcliff. So welcome, coach.
Thank you.
Chase, I know you got some questions, burning questions.
Well, I mean,
what you got, Chase?
Well, first
He's
I
gonna
just
start laughing with my answer. So whatever
I was laughing. I was laughing because we were talking earlier in this podcast about the mentality that cross country runners and track runners have is just different from everyone else's. Because I remember when I was in high school, we would run for punishment, and I would look over to my left and I would see like there's like a dirt track that goes behind our school of just like people running for cross country, and in my head I'm just like, dude, I don't know how they do this, but they do. And it's very, that's why I said like growing it, like doing sports, like you grow an appreciation for the athletes that just put in the work and the effort in, and it's just I admire their commitment to their craft. And so the number one thing I just wanted to say, like when we talked about in the in-person athletic meeting a couple weeks ago about exactly what you mentioned about the steeplechase runner. I was watching the highlights video, and like you said, like if you don't just get up and run immediately, you don't know. And when you're watching him, by the way, well, I don't like he smacked the ground hard, and he was dead last, and he just kept on pushing and pushing. I don't even think, honestly, I don't even think it was to win, to be honest. I don't think in his mindset he was just like, no, I just gotta get up and do it, and he won. And by the way, I think it was a good margin too, and he won.
He ended up winning, and I think that's part of the lessons, because as athletes, this is part of their growing process. We're not in it just to win trophies and stuff like that. It's how they grow as personal individuals. It's
right.
A very strong thing for personal development, no matter what sport it is. Even if running is the best sport, that's whatever else they may be doing is learning those lessons that they need to have. And so that's really part of mine. I really think I'm here to serve the students. I've thought in my head several times, who am I here to serve? Is it this person, that? And it's probably multiple people in reality that I'm supposed to help in one way or the other. And a lot of times those come in conversations away from the training when you're done, or before or after that happened, that, hey, coach, can you ask you a question? They ask you a question, and you do that. I know in the past I've had runners who had very strong father figures that had great relationships with them, and they said, coach, you're like a father figure to me. And I'm older now than I was then, but that's still part of what's happening. And you take them, and it's just how God brings those to me and how I just deal with them. And hopefully I do a good job with those individuals.
I think coaches are a blessing. I think sometimes they're the extra hand of the parent. Sometimes they are in place of a parent. And then sometimes it's just a solid support system when you're really trying to do something hard. I tell people all the time, I never, I'm relatively tall, I'm relatively big. And they say, well, how come you never, played professionally? And I have to employ them like, do you know what that takes? Do you know what that really means? It's not enough to be big. It's not even enough to be talented. You've got to have really strong mentors like yourself, and a coach that's willing to push you a little harder than you're willing to push yourself. And then to be able to sustain that from a kid into high school, into college, and then all of the prep that goes into professional sports. I think coaches are a blessing. And a lot of times there's some kids out there that don't have anyone, but to have a solid figure, whether it be male or female, that can let them know that, hey, this is the way you can do it. This is the principles of how you do it. And when you leave me, you're going to be better than when I got you. That's just a great meta. I think sports is a great metaphor for life, and it's really important the work that you guys do.
But coach, one of the questions I wanted to know is, because we're people who are listening in, they're fans of Warrior Athletics. So we just wanted to ask you one question for you. In your opinion, what are we to expect when we tune into cross country for this season coming in the fall? When you guys touch down at that Vanguard Invitational, and when you guys go to that CalPAC conference meet later, and I think it was in November, I believe. What are we expecting for the season, Coach? What do you got in store for us?
Well, I think we have a very young team. We've got several runners. This is the first time they're running. We've got some cross dual sport athletes, and some of the ladies from the water polo team are going to run. And I think it's yet to be seen how good they may or may not be. One of the women's told me she's been swimming competitively since she was 8, so she's got that kind of cardiovascular. And I watch her run. I think she looks pretty good, but she hasn't run against anybody yet. We haven't, had a race or anything. So I don't know how good that is. How well do people adapt to competition? Some people are great trainers, but not great racers. So I think we're gonna do that. The idea here is finished. That's going to be the goal for the year, and that there's at least a couple different ways that I mean that. First is at the conference meet, we want to finish 5 men and 5 women across the line, which is our obligation. So that's going to be clear to them that that's what we want to do. That's where we're pointing towards. And also, previously when I coached, I happen to have it here since I'm at home. There's a book here. Whoops, I don't know if you can see that. Now it's fuzzing out. But anyway, it's a book called Run with the Best. Whoops. Okay. And my mentor, Coach Irv Ray, who helped me coach previously, wrote the book, and Run with the Best when it counts the most. And I've kind of said that already. So the idea is that we're just going to train to get ready to run their very best at the conference meet. So whatever that is for that individual, we'll see what that happens. So I'm fairly excited about the women's team, because I think they'll be more consistent than they've ever been in the past. But you just never know from season to season what happens. So that first meet, we'll show up, we'll run, and that's kind of like our time trial. It's like throwing them into the deep end of the pool, because many of them have never raced before. And so now we're going to throw them. They're not high schoolers in the first JV race. They're running a collegiate race. So I'm excited about the season.
Oh, do you ever feel like because they don't know what they're capable of, you're in a better position? Like, because you can kind of push a little more because they don't know what they can do?
Well, I think you can push them a little bit more, but I think a lot of the coaching at this level, especially with newbie runners, is the idea of I'm watching them every day. I'm watching what they're doing. I say, how are you doing? I watch how they finish a race. They recover, and they go, that was hard, coach. And then they say, 2 minutes later, they're chirping away saying, well, what are we going to have for lunch? You're watching those things, and that's the development of that. When they come out to practice, how are they? Are they talking? Are they there? I'm tired. Because fatigue is cumulative as well. So it's not just what do we do that one day, but like, what have we done the last week? And so you got to weave in recovery days in there, as well as the hard workouts. So, and you don't want to break them down physically too much, then you can't bring them back. So it's quite a bit of art to it, as well as kind of the science.
Can you speak to that just a few minutes? Because I think a lot of us on the outside think it's all about the race, and they don't really understand how important the recovery is. I mean, isn't that just as important as the training side?
Absolutely, especially with lower level runners. When we were talking about, we've got world-class runners. One of the reasons they're world-class runners is they recover faster than the average person. So recovery becomes an important part of what we're doing. Tomorrow is going to be a recovery day for the runners, because I said, okay, they're tired after today. So we're going to run lighter and probably less. So it's containing that volume that you're running. So it's not just how fast you're running, but it's how much you're running, and combining those two things. So we have recovery runs specified within the book. I just showed you the recovery runs as a thing. One of the things that I will stress to them that I probably didn't when I was younger, but I've already stressed to them several times, is the idea of sleep. Sleep is part of your recovery. So you can tell yourself and your roommates, coach tells me I need to sleep. So I'm getting sleep, because that's part of the recovery. Going back to, personal development, we know that sleep is way important. And a lot of times early on in our lives, we're driving, not realizing that we need sleep. I have a buddy who's coaches me, who's a PhD in neuroscience, and she makes the point how important sleep is to memory, especially to students. If you have the choice, he said to me, you have the choice of staying up all night to study or going to sleep. You're better off just going to sleep, because your mind will be so much sharper in the morning.
It's amazing how things have changed. I'm a little bit older, and it was always, hey, you can sleep when you're dead. Kind of attitude. No pain, no gain. But now,
well, not if you're trying to compete at a high level.
Exactly.
You need sleep.
And now you got
professional athletes. Tom Brady reportedly sleeps, extra sleep. He goes to sleep at like 8 o'clock, and so
Mhm.
those are one of the things that we're learning more and more about sleep and how that impacts our terms. And you do have things where you have what I call the 2-day rule. It's
Mhm.
not the night before sleep that's most critical. It's 2 nights before the competition sleep, because you can kind of get away with it for one day, but if 2 days is what catches up with you.
Gotcha. It's
And that
amazing to see the changes. I love sports medicine and sports science. It gives us an opportunity to recover better, and obviously it's making for better athletes all across the board. I mean, it
Yeah.
seems to be they've been running harder, stronger, jumping further, and the longevity some of these sportsmen and sportswomen is amazing. The fact that some of them still playing in 40, 42 years old, and the National Football League is obviously sleep works. Non-inflammatory foods work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you commit that way, obviously it really makes a difference. It's great to see that you have a full understanding and really preaching both sides of that coin.
Yeah, and sleep. When I tell them, the AM begins in the PM. So I'm emphasizing PM. What are you doing to be ready to run in that next morning? Well, part of that is going to bed early enough. Part of that is having your shoes ready so you're not late for practice. All those things to get ready that you do to have a good PM. And you learn to sleep. You don't do wrong things that you interfere with your sleep. We won't go into the details of that, but the idea is that you're getting the PM starts, or your AM starts in the PM. So the PM is important to driving your AM, which drives our practices because we're practicing in the morning, and drives the rest of their days.
So between that and then I guess you got a good component as far as nutrition is concerned. This is literally all the prep work before you ever put your feet on the track.
Yes. Well, nutrition, I'm going to explain a little more about tomorrow because we're kind of wrapping things up for this first week here. Is the idea of nutrition, and there's a lot of people out there with opinions about nutrition. There's you can get 5 studies that say if you eat meat you're the strongest, best thing in the world, and you got MD saying you got to do it, and you've got 5 over here saying the opposite. We're all vegans and you're going to die early if you eat meat. So there's a lot of nutritional I was going to say confusion. That's not what I mean. Opinions out there. And so it's interesting to say. So I think you need to do what works for you. And what is that? And I want them to be aware of what they're doing, what they're eating, what they're consuming, because as student athletes, we're not going to control it completely. They're not professional athletes with, chefs at back of the house that are going to fix them exactly what they want, and they can't afford all that. So we do the best we can with nutrition within the bounds of where we're at.
Very good. I mean, obviously it's that's why you have a great coach.
Well, one of the things I
to
did
put
tell
that
them
all together.
just today is the 2:22 rule that I implemented, and that means after a hard run or after a race, within 2 minutes, meaning after you stop breathing hard, you want to get some liquid back into you. Could be either water or Gatorade. Within 20 minutes, you want to have something. So typically, you have like a Cliff Bar, a Power Bar, whatever their choice is. I gave them some this morning. So you want to so then you start it, because typically after the race, you can't eat because you don't feel like eating at that moment. You'd throw it up. But so the 2 is within 2 hours, we want to get you a real meal into you so that you can help recover. We're talking about recovery. So we're talking about, okay, well, all those little things add up to maximizing your recovery for the runners.
Sounds like you got your work cut out for you, Coach. I mean, as
Yes.
it sits right now, we're looking at 9-1, right? You guys will be competing in the Vanguard Invitational.
Yes.
And then the next one just after that is going to be 9-16, which is the UC Riverside Invitational.
UC Riverside.
So we're you guys are lined up. You've got plenty of time to get ready, but here we go, huh?
Well, here we go. Well, the first one is very short because we're just starting school. So we've got to get them all back, and not everybody is here yet. So we'll see how we do in that first race. I could skip it, but it's so close. It's right there.
It's in our backyard.
It's in our backyard. So if we can possibly get them to run there, I think that makes sense. And then we'll move on to Riverside. Then we have about a month where at the moment we don't have any races scheduled. But I think that's going to be helpful to the fact that, okay, we've got a couple races, so we've seen what it's like. Now we go back to training again and see what we can do. Because adaptation cycles are anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks where they can, you start running at a level. So let's say they ran 2 miles a day for 3 weeks. Well, now maybe they're ready to go to 3 miles a day. So you can only bump them up so fast over a period of time. So I think we've got some time to train without having to distract the race. But if I think we need a race, if that helps sharpen them up, or if some individuals need a race, then I'll schedule something else in there.
Oh, I can't wait. I love the fact that all of our meets this year I will be able to watch in person. A couple years ago, I mean last season and I think the year before, I think I got lucky to go to one of them because it was actually in our region. I think it was the Fullerton, out in Cal State Fullerton, so it was close to us. But I'm really excited that all of the meets this year are right in our region to be able to go out and support you and the athletes, because I'm excited because we got a full squad with both men, both women. So I'm excited for the season honestly to start. I know you are, Coach.
Yeah, I'm excited for the season to start, and that's purposeful to keep them close. The only one we're not going to be close is when we go to the conference meet in Fresno.
Right. That's a beautiful. Will, you want to talk about how beautiful it is up there at the conference meet?
Well, that's a matter of opinion. So
I know it is a man. It was a hit or miss. It was a hit or miss. Because I know we were talking with Will and Brandon. I think they got lucky when they went up last season because it was very beautiful up there and kind of surreal in a sense. Brandon did a fantastic piece about his experience up there. If you get a chance, I highly recommend
I saw that piece. That was a very nice piece, Brandon.
Yes. I think that was the best article we got last season. It was definitely different from what we normally would do for an article, and it was just like, so yeah, it might be different from person to person, but I think, Will, you want to talk about your experience up north?
I'll be honest with you. It's just about the engagement and the student athletes. I think that's
right.
I think that is what makes and breaks most of what we do. The culture is here. I mean, it just really is. And it was just wonderful. Like I said, spending time with student athletes. I think I talked to Coach when we did our one-on-ones about Harry. He started the year, kind of on the edge, you know what I mean? Never really engaging initially like he probably could have. By the end of the year, he had turned everything around. I think he really tried to come back this year, but he made some other choices and we wished him luck. But it just shows the power of a good coach. It shows the power of a good culture. And it was touching to see them come out. And then of course, seeing all the ladies come over from some of the other sports and ran for their first time in Fresno and totally, blew themselves away. What they thought they could do, which is what they actually accomplished, was night and day. So I definitely drank the Kool-Aid. I was enjoying myself, and I really look forward to what you guys can accomplish this year, Coach.
In that course there in Fresno is a very well-known course. It's the course that they run the state high school meet on. So lots of people have times from that course. I think even the very last time I coached at Biola, that's where we were at. We're at Fresno. So it's interesting. So it's a bit of a drive, but it's an exciting place to be.
Well, we wish you luck this season. We really, really want to see you guys do well. We know it's not easy your first year. You got to kind of build this up, but we're interested to see how well you can do this year. And we really got a lot of faith that what comes out of it will be part of our 5Cs culture, regardless of what the scores are. And then eventually we know how that works. When you work that 5Cs, championships will come. So we're proud of you. We're proud to have you. We're really a family here. So we want to welcome you. But we really definitely thank you for taking some time with us and speaking. If we have some chance later on the season, we're going to reach out and just get a little update from you guys. But it was great talking to you, Coach.
Good to see you.
Great to have you, Coach.
As always, I'd like to thank my co-host, SID Chase Dodge. Appreciate your help, brother. And our great producer, Brandon Peterson. Thank you for all that you do. I'm Will Smith, your assistant AD, and this has been Building Greatness, the Warrior Way. Oh, and don't forget, please subscribe wherever you download your podcasts, and please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps us get the word out about our Warriors. Until next time, Westcliff family, what's family? Forget about me. I love you. Peace.
All of the books, but I'ma learn how to fix that. Some opportunities and never come unless you paying attention. So no, I can't miss that. Moving MVP, I got the record. I might have to prove something. Big jumper worthy. They gon' have to retire my jersey early. my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my big dog, walking big talk, young veteran, living legend, bet I'm better than them. This is my ship, I'ma jack it like Letterman. Y'all better not let them in, they gon' rotate this, so I keep the pedaling. Started a chain, the cycle is heaven sent. This is from God, but I'm not your reverend, not in the pulpit. I'm a pit bull in this element, yeah. Said you gon' pull up, then settle it, yeah. I've been married to this hustle, this is my ring, watch out step in it, yeah. And I ain't even got a yard, but I'ma get it here. Watch out touchdown, pulling plans out the clutch. Everybody getting crushed, the cut down is for us now. Have to work something, cause I had nothing in my pocket, yeah, I did all that. Big plans, partners trying to make profits, yeah, I did all that. Work, sweat, and tears breaking, even no wins, yeah, I did all that. Had to make it happen, putting hours in my practice, I did all that, yeah. I can't take no loss, yeah. I don't even know what it costs, I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah. Hit the ground, then it go off, yeah. I can't take no loss, yeah. I don't even know what it costs, yeah. I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah. Hit the ground, then it go off, yeah. Run it, ooh. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my